Hello my dear children, welcome to your science class. I hope all of you are good. Have you learned yesterday's portion? Have you gone through the textbooks? We have started a new chapter, that is our 8th chapter, and teacher have just introduced the chapter body movement to you. I hope all of you have read the textbook and learned about locomotion, importance of locomotion, and general things about the skeletal system and the function of skeletal system. As teacher told last day, today we are going to learn about different parts of skeletal system. Teacher told that skeletal system is divided into 5 parts, and they are skull region, backbone or spine, the rib cage, the limbs and the girdles. So these are the 5 regions of the skeletal of human skeletal system. So these are the 5 parts of skeletal system, that is the skull, the backbone or the spine, the rib cage, the limbs and the girdles. So in today's class we are going to learn about 3 of these skeletal parts. They are the skull, the backbone and the rib cage. Now before learning about the skull, let's just do an activity to feel the bones of the skull on your head. For that, I want all of you to take your hands and place your hands on the head. Now press and feel the bone inside your head. Now what peculiarity do you find in the bones of the head? Can you move the bones in your heads? No, isn't it? You cannot move the bones in your forehead region, isn't it? And here also you cannot move the bones, isn't it? The only part where you can move the bones are the lower jaw bones, isn't it? So these are the features of skull bone. That is, the skull is the bone structure of the head. This is the picture of the skull bone. This skull bone consists of 22 bones. Skull bone consists of 22 bones in total, and out of this 22 bones, 8 bones are flat bones, and these 8 bones form the brain box or the cranium. Out of this 22 bones, 8 bones form the brain box. Those 8 bones are flat in nature, and the function of this brain box is to protect the brain. We know our brain is situated here. So the brain is protected by the brain box. Now out of this 22 bones of the skull, 8 bones form the protection for the brain, that is the cranium or the brain box, and other 14 bones, they gives shape to our face. So the skull bones consist of 22 bones in total. Among that, 8 bones are forming the brain box or cranium. Function of brain box or cranium is to protect the brain, whereas other 14 bones gives the shape to the face. And the other feature of the skull bone is all the bones in the skull bone are fixed. They are immovable in nature. You cannot move the bones of the skull except the bone in the lower jaw of the skull. Now this lower jaw skull bone is used to chew the food, also to talk and speak. All the bones in the skull are immovable in nature. You cannot move the bones except the bone in the lower jaw. This lower jaw bones are used for chewing the food and also speak. So that's all about the skull bone.
The skull is the bony structure consisting of the brain box and facial bones. The brain box is the upper portion of the skull. It is made up of 8 flat bones joined together. The brain box encloses the delicate brain inside it. It protects the brain from injury and shocks. Our face is made up of 14 bones. The lower jaw is the only bone in the skull which is movable. It enables us to chew our food and speak.
Now the second part of the skeleton is the backbone. So before learning about the backbone, let's feel the presence of backbone in our body by an activity. For that, I want all of you to stand. Kindly stand from your seat. Now what you have to do is lift your hands to the back side of your body. Okay? And what you have to do is touch gently the back region. Now what do you feel? You feel few bones in the back side, isn't it? So those bones are your backbones, or it is called the spines. Now let's learn about the backbones. These backbones, they are the main axis of the skeleton. It is made up of 33 ring-like bones. Backbones are made up of 33 ring-like bones, and those bones are called vertebrae. So the backbones, they are the axis of skeletal system. They consist of 33 ring-like bones, and those bones are called vertebrae. So each this 33 ring-like vertebrae join to form a vertebral column. So this vertebral column is more strong and it protects the spinal cord. They protect the spinal cord. So what does the skull protect? Yes, the skull bones protect the brain. Now what does the backbone or the vertebrate column protects? Yes, the vertebral column protects the spinal cord. Now we learned that we cannot move the skull bones except the lower jaw bones. Now can you move the vertebral column? Yes, the vertebral column is slightly movable, isn't it? You can bend the vertebral column and you can pull up the vertebral column, isn't it? So the vertebral column is slightly movable. So that's all about the vertebral column. That is, it is made up of 33 ring-like bones called vertebrae. This 33 ring-like vertebrae join to form vertebral column, and the function of vertebral column is it protects the spinal cord. Now this vertebral column, the backbone, they are slightly movable in nature.
Backbone or spine. The backbone forms the main axis of the skeleton. It is made up of 33 small bones called vertebrae. These small bones join together to form a strong column called the vertebral column. It protects the delicate spinal cord. The vertebrae can move over each other. This allows you to bend and twist your back as shown in the figure.
Now let's learn about the third type of skeleton, that is rib cage. Before learning about the rib cage, let's do an activity to feel the presence of rib cage in our body. For that also I want all of you to stand. Now place your hands on the chest and press gently. Okay, now what do you see? You feel the bones on your chest, isn't it? So these bones are called the rib cage or the rib bones. Now the rib cage consists of 12 pairs. The rib cage consists of 12 pair of bones, and these bones are connected to the vertebral column or the backbone. So this 12 pair of bones are joined to the vertebral column at the back, and in the front region these are joined to the sternum. Sternum is also called the chest bone. Now the 10 pair of bones from this 12 pair is joined to the sternum, as the last 2 pairs of the rib cage bones are free floating in nature. Hence they are called floating ribs. Floating ribs. So out of the 12 pairs, 10 pairs are joined to the chest bone, whereas the 2 pairs, the last 2 pairs are floating in nature, hence they are called floating ribs.
Rib cage. There are 12 pairs of thin and curved bones called the ribs. These bones form a rib cage which protects the heart and the lungs. All the 12 pairs of the ribs are joined with the backbone at the back, and the first 10 pairs are joined with the chest bone in the front. The last 2 pairs of ribs are free at the front end and are called floating ribs.
So dear children, today we learned about 3 parts of skeleton, that is the skull, the backbone or the spine and the rib cage. There is 2 more parts of skeleton. Those parts we will learn in our next class. And dear children, few of you haven't submitted the notes which I have uploaded last day. So today is the last day to submit the notes. If you don't submit the notes, I will have to give the names of students, those who haven't submitted the notes, to the section heads. So kindly submit it today itself. Today it's the last day to submit the notes. See you in next class. Thank you.